Welcome, everyone, to another exciting episode of We Empower. I'm thrilled to have you all with us today. So sit back, relax, and get ready to be inspired. Let's make today count. In today's episode, we'll be diving into recapping a few stand-up moments from the previous week before treating you to a song that hints at the intriguing personality of our special guest for today. Joining us today is Andreas Rickert, who will be sharing inspirational insights with us. So following that, I will introduce you to a special book. To wrap things up, we will open the floor to at least one of your questions. So let's dive into the past week. And I think I can't say everything because so many things happened, but I will spotlight a few things. So the global highlights of the week about diversity, women's rights, equality, democracy, and self-determination are first, the diversity celebrated in global film industry. The Cannes Film Festival highlighted the importance of diversity in the film industry. Several films featuring diverse cast and crews won prestigious awards. Filmmakers from underrepresented backgrounds were recognized for their contributions, reflecting the festival's commitment to inclusivity. The festival jury emphasized the need for continued efforts towards inclusivity, noting that 40% of the films in competition were directed by women. Industry leaders called for more funding and support for diverse projects. We need to ensure that diverse voices are heard and celebrated, said one of the award-winning directors. Historic win for women's rights in Mexico. Mexico's Supreme Court decriminalized abortion nationwide. This landmark decision marks a significant victory for women's rights in Latin America. Activists celebrated the ruling as a step towards bodily autonomy for women, with 78% of women in a recent survey supporting the decision. The court's decision was praised by international human rights organizations. Women's rights groups are now focusing on ensuring access to safe and legal abortion services. This is a monumental step towards gender equality, stated a leading activist from Mexico City. Equality milestone in European politics. Finland appointed its first openly LGBTQ plus prime minister. This appointment is seen as a significant move towards greater political equality. The new minister pledged to advocate for the rights and inclusivity, aiming to implement policies that support the community. Political analysts noted the historical significance of this appointment, with 62% of the public supporting this progressive move. The Prime Minister's leadership is expected to inspire similar movements in other countries. This is a proud movement for Finland and beacon for hope for LGBTQ plus individuals worldwide, commented a political analyst. So, self-determination efforts in Catalonia. Catalonia regional government called for renewed talks on independence from Spain. Pro-independence rallies were held peacefully across major cities, drawing hundreds of thousands of participants. The Spanish government agreed to engage in dialogue with Catalan leaders. Analysts believe these talks could lead to a significant political agreement, with 55% of Catalans supporting the push for independence. Catalan leaders stressed the importance of a democratic resolution to the demands. We seek a fair and democratic process to determine our future. Last but not least, progress on gender equality in corporate America. Major tech companies pledged to increase gender diversity in leadership roles. These commitments followed public pressure and advocacy from equality groups. Companies announced specific targets and timelines for achieving gender parity, aiming for 50% female representation leadership by 2025. Industry experts see this as a major step forward in addressing gender inequality. Continuous monitoring and reporting on progress will be essential to ensure accountability. This is a critical step towards creating a more inclusive and equitable industry, remarked an equality advocate. Come along. So what a great choice. We'll go to a place that is safe from greed, anger, and boredom. We'll dance and sing till sundown. I like the text. And before I say welcome, I would like to say a few words about the song itself. It's by Cosmo Sheldrake, and it's a whimsical and thought-provoking song that invites listeners on a fantastic journey through nature and imagination, something we are often doing much too little in today's world. The lyrics suggested a sense of adventure and curiosity, urging the audience to explore the world with childlike wonder and eyes. So the song emphasizes the importance of embracing the beauty and mysterious of life, encouraging a break from the mundane and routine. It's a kind of call also for just refreshing your life, see it from another angle, just remind your childhood, and yeah, touches also themes of unity and collective experience, feel collaborative, suggesting that the journey is more meaningful when shared with others. And it highlights the interconnectedness of all living things and the joy found in communal discovery. So thank you so much, Andreas, for choosing the song, and welcome here in the show. What was the reason for you choosing this song?
So good morning, Anabel, and thank you very much for having me. And you very nicely described already what the content is. So these are, of course, the key reasons why I chose it. So when you asked me what kind of song you would like to play, there were a few other reasons. So one, I would like to highlight, I'm just very much into electronic music. I love it. And maybe we can talk about that later on, besides business activities I do. And then there is one fun fact. So just before we got pregnant, or my wife got pregnant, we went to the Cosmo Sheldrake concert. And guess what? Our son is now also called Cosmo. So, and he's sitting next door, 4 months old.
Great, that's a nice story. And I remember one picture of you in your child in your youth, where you're standing in front of a concert, and I think in a band shirt, awaiting the concert and being part of it, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, music, concert, festivals has always been a passion. Of course, the kind of music I'm listening to has changed over time. So the picture you're referring to, I'm wearing a Dead Kennedys shirt. So at that time, I pretend to be a punk. So that has changed over time. But nevertheless, the roots are still there, and I still love going to electronic music concerts.
And I mean, it's hard to describe you for me, to be honest. If I should do it in a really, systemic way or fulfilling way, then I think we need 1 or 2 hours to doing that. So let me maybe point off a few of that. What you are for me. You are for me the stand-off person for supporting NGOs in Germany and abroad with a really loud voice, which is not just covering the NGOs and supporting them, but also getting and influencing the financial world, such as, for example, families, just as NIXDORF, for example, but many, many others. You are the person who convinced many wealthy people to give their money and supporting the social life in Germany, and to help many people in social burning or different situations where they don't feel good and are not supported, that they get the support they need. But not just that, with your, I think also your background from World Bank, but also McKinsey, I think you have a strong background on being structured and forward thinking, and knowing that's not NGO doesn't mean that you're doing good, but it also means that on a long lasting way, it has to be in a kind of working for itself as a kind of circle. And it's not about just organizing sponsoring money. It's also about just that it has to be a business model. And to be honest, I mean, I have also a social organization, as you know. You gave me really you gave me the spirit to rethink that, to understand that my role is not to organizing millions of money a year, but my role is more to finding a good business model. And this is really, I think, life-changing for many, or has been life-changing for many NGOs, and made it possible that many of these NGOs are still alive and can stand also the a bit tricky financial situation. So thank you very much for that, what you are doing here. But maybe you can also support me a little bit in describing that, what I haven't described about you, what is necessary for others also to know about you.
Yeah, first of all, thank you very much for the kind words. And of course, hearing that kind of feedback that throughout my work, I already had some impact, that is something which makes me quite grateful. So this is the reason why I'm standing up every morning, so to say. So thank you very much for saying that. Yeah, you already described a few of my career steps. Maybe I should make one big disclaimer at the beginning. I'm a very privileged person. So all the things I'm doing nowadays, I love my job, but this is just a matter of lucky accidents. So I'm a very grateful person for all the things which happened throughout my career so far. And you mentioned that. So starting as a biologist, and at that time, I could never have imagined that I would at some point lead a big organization like PHINEO or being the CEO of NIXDORF Kapital. And all the steps in between are really something which I could have never foreseen, but they just did happen. And so having started, as I said, as a biologist, and then realizing being at Stanford that I'm not a good scientist, so all my peers way smarter than I was. I only had one choice, that meant McKinsey. So this was just actually my only exit strategy I had at that time. So this is why I ended up being a consultant with McKinsey. And to my own surprise, I liked it. I did that for a couple of years. And then, as you said, working for the World Bank also opened up completely other door. And here you see it already came that I realized that you can use financial instruments to tackle the global issues. And basically, that has always been my guiding principles through all the things I've done so far. Using instruments from the private sector, using the finance market, but to achieve impact. And maybe I can summarize all the things that happened so far. So impact is really my guiding principle, and entrepreneurship. Always trying to see how we can be more entrepreneurial, because I deeply believe in the power of startups and entrepreneurial thinking.
Yeah, and would you say that your career in biology? I mean, not every person who's in biology a scientist has has a chance to work in Stanford. Did it give you something on your path? Something maybe focusing on something, experimenting, maybe. Was there something, maybe an experience you would like to share with us? What was important for you on your step that you realized maybe also that's not the right thing, but it's an important step on my path?
Yeah, that's a good question. Maybe two things are relevant. A, realizing that being analytical is quite helpful. It's really to dive into the circumstances, understanding why things do happen, etc. So this is something which have always been for me relevant, not just out of a gut feeling, but really doing very clear analysis when I ever make a decision. But secondly, also realizing on my personal track that I'm not a scientist. And that was, I mean, looking backwards, everything is strategy and everything looks like a clear pathway. But at that point, I realized, okay, I cannot continue being a scientist. And then a learning that really having the guts to jump was something which is very helpful, and also was guiding for me throughout the career following. So, because I had so many different steps. And so this is being, being a person who has the guts to do something new, completely changing tracks, it was helpful, but also keeping the mindset of a scientist. I think these are two things which I learned during that time.
Yeah, I think that's a lot, and to realizing what you don't like as same important as realizing what you like or what fits to you and where you're really much better, right? Some people say that McKinsey gives you a great structure, which you can use also for other topics. Was it that what brought you to McKinsey?
Well, I mean, first of all, I didn't have any other option, seriously. So that is why I chose, okay, if they like me, if they want me, I go there. And I think it looks good in my CV. Just doing that for a year. At the end of the day, it was 5 years in total. But yes, I learned how to analyze situation, to use frameworks, strategic frameworks.
Yeah.
And in particular, I really learned how it is to work together with great people. And this is always, which has also been very motivated for me, being surrounded by excellent colleagues.
Yeah, great. That sounds good. And I think some people say that McKinsey is a tricky, it's like a special community. And I think it is, but this is not bad. I mean, there's so much you can use, and it would be great if you can spread it further to many students which are learning something different, but could use it as a kind of starting backpack, right?
Absolutely. And if you don't have any other idea, just go to McKinsey or ask any big firms.
That's a good advice. And we continue in a few minutes. We have now a small commercial break, and I have plenty of questions where I'm very much looking forward to hearing your words about that. And diving a bit deeper into your experiences. So we see each other back in. So let's continue our talk, Andreas. You just heard me a few of your steps and your career in your life path. And I have also this picture in my mind, you with a snake around your neck. I mean, looking at you, I think you are somebody who's also a risk taker. You're not somebody who is just saying, okay, I just follow the path which I could follow. Because you had many stations, just as scientists at Stanford. I mean, some people said, okay, this is my life goal, and they stay, of course, there, whatever it means for me. McKinsey, no, for some further, it's also a life goal. McKinsey once being there, but you moved forward. And is this also risk taker or being brave? Is this an important part of you, and what doesn't make you feeling that way? That you feel safe by moving towards new ideas, new challenges?
Yeah, maybe there are three reasons why I had always these changes in my career track. One thing is being honest to yourself, so realizing what you're good at, but also when you're not good enough. So this is also when you are realizing maybe the change should be good. Then risk taking, yes, that's probably part of it. In my case, it also came together with the fact that I don't need that much. For example, when I chose to leave McKinsey and not following a classical career path in the private sector, I cut my salary by 2/3. So it was not relevant for me how much I do earn because it was sufficient enough. So this is why it's also easy to be a risk taker if you do not have obstacles or if you do not relevant if it's not relevant for you how many prestigious you have, etc. And then thirdly, it's curiosity. So I've always been very interested in other things. And by having a career which starts in science, going to the private sector, then to the foundations and nonprofit sector, to multinational organizations, and being a founder yourself, I mean, this comes with the privilege that you always dive into completely new areas and you learn so much. And this is something which is extremely enriching.
I'm completely with you. But if I, for example, look into some countries, just taking Germany, for example, I see that curiosity is some of these skills which is definitely missing. Where you see kids which are already behaving like old people and a kind of being open for new things, which I say, okay, let me stay where I am because I'm frustrated, I'm insecure, I don't know what's happening in the world. What do you think could be done, and what can everyone do by increasing this curiosity? Because I think it's a great driver.
Yeah, giving people security. I think this is really key. In my case, it was also my private security net because I have a brother and a sister. Both they are older. One is a lawyer, the other one is an MD. So they already had a decent job. I have parents which always been very caring. So I knew if I do fail, there are people helping me. So this helps a lot. And maybe this is something also we can use for society. So encouraging people to be risk-taking, but at the same time assuring them that they're not falling if they do fail. So this is maybe something we can do as a society. And of course, then encouraging people that also failures are not something which is a problem, and encouraging them to just start new things. And this is more a mindset thing in society. And maybe here we have something more to learn, in particular in Germany.
I think so too. What do you think is a reason for that? That especially this society has this enormous fear or also a pain point regarding failure, where you exactly said, I mean, looking into the United States, it's not a failure, it's a kind of moving forward, and it's part of the path. And it's just you haven't reached the goal when you are still doing failures, right?
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's definitely just a question of the mindset, focusing on the options and opportunities instead of looking at the potential risks. So this is something hopefully more people have in the future, but also what are the alternatives? So in Germany, if you have started a career which is a quite comfortable career, there is not much pressure to change. And maybe also people are sometimes too much on their comfort zones, and maybe we should decrease also the pressure to leave the comfort zone.
That's right. So maybe it needs a bigger crisis in Germany that the people understand that they have to move. Hopefully not, but maybe this is the reason, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you are always looking so energetic and you're doing and moving so many things. Do you have some hacks or recipes kind of you would like to share also about your personal self-leadership tools, maybe time management or how to keep your mind fresh and young, as it seems like?
Yeah, first of all, thank you very much for sharing that impression. And indeed, per se, I'm a very positive person. And this is something which you probably cannot really learn. This is something you just have in yourself. And so I'm, again, very grateful for that general attitude.
Yeah.
Asking about my leadership advices, maybe there are a few. First of all, I really trust people. So whenever I'm in a position that I can delegate something to team members, to my peers, I do that. And I give them the comfort that when they fail, that's not a problem, but they should try. And of course, that gives me, again, some flexibility because I don't have to take care of it anymore. So really trust and delegation is probably one of the key things. Secondly, from my personal attitude, being optimistic, looking at the opportunities. This is extremely helpful. And then thirdly, also working in partnerships. Yes, I do have a lot of roles, but in most organizations we are working, we are not alone. We have very strong partnerships, and that's extremely helpful also to leverage others and to have even much more impact.
I think this is an important point because nowadays we often think that we are alone. The structures and families have just separated, and it's hard to get again after also Corona the feeling back that your communities, that friends and family is super important also for your social network to feel that you're not alone, that you have chances, that there's always a new path if you're stepping away from the old ones, right?
Exactly. And maybe also regarding curiosity, I have one principle I usually follow. So I have a lot of requests. People would like to talk to me, and I'm talking to everyone who wants to talk to me. So everybody gets an appointment. Sometimes just 15 minutes, because I mean, schedule is very busy and tight. But nevertheless, everybody can speak to me, and this is sometimes also very surprising. Just to give you one example, so I got an email just recently from a quite random email address, Sebastian 78, something like that. So can we talk? And I said, okay, sure, we can talk. It turned out that is the next gen of a wealthy family, and now we have a partnership, and he put 50 million on the table to do this partnership together. And this is just an example showing being open, and not just looking at
Yeah.
the titles of people or where they're coming from, but being open to talk to anyone. And sometimes it turns out to be extremely powerful, like in this case, but in most cases, it's very enriching just to talk to people and to be inspired by them. And this is also a source of energy I use very intensively.
I like this very much what you say because you give credit to everybody and you give respect to everybody, no matter what. And this is something I think we often have to learn new because we are so full of prejudices and shelves and boxes. As I think sometimes it's because we are so overloaded of the digitization of everything what happens outside. What do you think? Is this a reason? And how can we change that?
Yeah, maybe it's too much. That's indeed the case, but
Yeah.
also that people are very early on trying to judge people. And so that means that they're looking at their titles, how much money they are earning, what kind of car they're driving. And this is something, as I said, I've always respect towards people. I do respect everybody, but I don't have the false respect when it comes to money. And as I said at the beginning, I'm working with a lot of wealthy families. And maybe this is also something they do appreciate because I
Mm.
treat them like anyone. I mean, I go to the coffee machine with them, even if they are billionaires, and they have to take the coffee themselves. And I think that's how
Yeah.
humans should be together.
Yes, I think that they like it also because I think nobody wants to be treated completely out of everything just because of his birth or a title he was born with. And I like.
Some do, but these are not the ones I'm working with.
I would agree with that, yes. So, stepping back into, I mean, you have family, you have also a child, and what does it mean for you to have a child in this world? Does it, do you think that it's a special gift, and does it comes along with a special responsibility?
Yes, of course. And it's not only one child, it's four.
Right.
And this in itself maybe is also a statement that they do believe in that the world is going to be a good place to live in, because otherwise you wouldn't give them the opportunity to live in this world. Yes, so it's a statement. It's also motivation to work for a better world,
Yeah.
and it's an inspiration because I mean they come with new ideas. That they have also their normative perspectives. They're challenging me, and that also helps me to be hopefully a better person.
Yeah, that's great. I think so too. It's a vice versa, learning from each other. As for example, Goldsmith, Dr. Goldsmith, Janusz Korczak said, right, that you that's often that we learn from the children if we just go down from our size and see that we are even smaller than the kids from that what they can teach us. How old are your kids?
So 16, actually, she's currently in the UK at border school, the word Sussex. Then
Right.
13, 6, and now the newborn.
Oh, that's great. Wow. So we have one same old years kid, my 6.
Nice.
Yeah, I think it's the best gift ever you can have, right?
Yeah. For me, I mean, this is always, of course, a personal decision, but for me, it's always been in my plan that I wanted to have children, and turns out to be that was definitely a right decision.
I mean, I guess you have a lot of goals, and I think you're a person who has so many things upcoming, and it's not a really safe path you have in front of you, but some plans. What are your next plans, and can you share with us the reason why?
Yeah. I mean, overarching, of course, I would like to help that we are having impact in a positive way in many different
Yeah.
ways. And I have different vehicles for doing that. So one thing is that I founded 15 years ago PHINEO, which is a think and do tank for strategic philanthropy. And so this is the first part I'm still very active in, because I think we need even more philanthropy. We need more civil society. And
Yeah.
so PHINEO is out there to encourage people to do something for society and also to contribute via donations, and also to look at impact. So we have developed new instruments so that nonprofits can work more strategically towards more impact. So this is one part I'm very intensively working on, that we have even more civil society and an increased volume of philanthropy.
Mhm.
Secondly, because we cannot save the world just by civil society and philanthropy, I always try to leverage more money to mobilize more resources. And this is why I'm very keen on impact investing. So impact investing means that you are using market or financial resources from the finance industry, and investing them with, of course, yes, also financial return, but also with a clear impact strategy, and also seeing that you're achieving impact. And so here my second C role comes into play. So I'm co-CEO of NIXDORF Kapital, and here we are doing impact investing at scale. And hopefully we are leading also the way that impact investing at the end of the day becomes mainstream. And so in summary, it means I would like to enhance more philanthropy, but at the same time increasing the volume for impact investing. And that hopefully leads to more resources to finally work towards the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals.
Yeah, that's right. Um, some people, for them, it's a life goal to speak once alive at TED on and speak there to other people. You did it around 10 years ago. Would you like to share a little bit? What was your speech, and is it still that goal which drives you, that inspiration you would like to spread out to other people?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, still it's relevant. So we haven't achieved that goal yet. So there was a TED talk about the importance of civil society. Because just to give you a little bit more insights about civil society, it's a huge factor. Just alone in Germany, we have more than 600,000 nonprofits. So that's a huge market. Globally, we have more than 10 million nonprofits. So that's huge. At the same time, they do not get the respect like the public sector or the private sector, and not the support. And I always hope that we will stand up as civil society and also making our case that we are relevant, that we are acknowledged as that, and also getting the support, the supporting circumstances, so that civil society can finally live up to its full potential, because it's needed alongside and in partnership with the private sector and the governments, but really on eyesight.
I heard one person saying to me, as you know, I'm doing also in social, voluntarily active. He said, what you're doing is bad. I said, why? He said, you're avoiding that politicians think that it's necessary that they start acting. So they're happy that people like you are doing the job they normally have to. So if they know and can rely on. And I said, I don't think so. What do you think about that?
That's completely wrong.
Thank you.
Because every sector has specific role, and you have to understand what are the specific roles of each sector. So civil society is not replacing the role of the government or the public sector. So we need both. Just to give you one example, so if we take all money which are in civil society in Germany for education, and this is by far the largest volume we're having in civil society, you could run the schools in Germany for 1 week. So of course that already indicates, so it's not about the volume, it's about the innovation we have in civil society, and then the scaling could be done via the government. So this is just as an example how civil society and the multinational organizations and also governments should work together and really joining forces.
Yeah, that's important. You're right. And I completely agree with you, because if we use this argument, then we could sit just on our couch and watching how the world goes wrong and are frustrated and nothing happens, right?
And it's not just about the volume and the money, it's also the normative power within civil society. People who are engaged are not the ones being complaining about the world, but being part of the solution. And that at the end of the day makes the beauty of society.
Yes, I completely agree with you. So unfortunately, we start running out of time, and I would like to end with maybe some advice or hack or something you would like to give people watching and listening here this series.
Well, maybe one concrete advice I got throughout my career. So when you are at the beginning of your career, you should focus on your weakness. Really try to become better, understanding where you have failed and working on that. Maybe until 35. Then it's too late. Then from then on, you should focus on your strengths, because only those strengths can help you to really be extremely successful and having a huge impact. So maybe that's the general advice. And then overall, be optimistic, be positive, because only by that attitude you can achieve something, and it's a lot of fun. And let's work together to make the world a better place.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure having you here. I'm looking forward to our further cooperation, Andreas, and thank you for taking the time here and sharing your insights. Thank you so much.
Thank
So
you.